preserve it to protect it from degrading fragile media.
Hi, Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do, and that intro from Sharopolis is an explanation of what's going on here. He, in one of his latest videos, managed to preserve two previously unreleased Famicom Disk System games, and I'm trying them both today, along with a third bonus disc that intrigued me. But we're starting with Crazy Kong. Now, at first, you're going to be wondering what the point is of preserving this. It's just a palette swap of different colors for Donkey Kong. But there is actually a story behind this game. There was a time when Nintendo couldn't meet the demand for manufacturing Donkey Kong cabinets in Japan. They couldn't make them fast enough to get them into the hands of players in arcades, so they licensed out an official bootleg version, which has since been called Crazy Kong by the fans and enthusiasts of this game. And the colors, as garish as they might seem, actually look like this in the licensed and, until 1982, officially commercially acceptable Donkey Kong. But unfortunately, that contractor that was working with them under a license got greedy because they were only supposed to make and distribute this version of Donkey Kong in Japan, and it was so profitable that they started exporting it to other countries like Brazil and the United States. Nintendo got wind of this and said, "You violated the terms of our agreement. We're revoking your license. You will stop producing these Donkey Kong cabinets effective immediately." Yes, Nintendo, litigious as ever from then until now, but in this case they were right to be litigious because I don't think that company should have been doing what they were doing, so fair play to Nintendo on that one at least. And yes, this just plays like regular old Donkey Kong with wacky colors that you're not normally used to seeing, but it's good that a Famicom Disk System version of this was found and preserved, even if you just consider it to be a plain old color swap. The story behind it is at least as interesting as the fact that future generations will be able to play it now, thanks to Sharopolis dumping this game. By the way, the method of preservation is pretty wild in and of itself. You load a special cartridge into your Famicom, and then once it has loaded into the system memory, you do a hot swap. Yeah, you take the cartridge out while the machine is on, and you put in your Famicom Disk System adapter. And what it does after that is outputs the contents of your disc over the audio channel, and you record the audio and then convert that audio into a Famicom Disk System file. He even admitted in his video that it seems like a very jank way of going about things, but by the fact that he's got two working Famicom Disk System images, I would say, jank or not, it does the job. So hat off to him for being able to do this. Now look at that copyright date, 2002. That's long after Famicom was a viable console or being commercially produced, or Famicom Disk System games were being made by software houses and distributed. But that didn't stop enthusiasts from making homebrew hacks and ports, and this is one for Kinnikuman, or as you probably know it better in the United States, Muscle. M-U-S-C-L-E. Look up that abbreviation if you haven't heard of this series, but there have been many games in the Kinnikuman/Muscle series over the years, including some that go for outrageous amounts because of low print runs. Like the GameCube version is one of the harder to get GameCube games that you will ever find. If you are looking to complete a collection, that one and Gotcha Force and Cuba4 and Chibi Robo, those are all going to hurt you in the wallet when you're trying to make a set. If you don't believe me, go to Price Charting or eBay and look for yourself. But this is just a hack of the Famicom game, and it is what it is. It's a pro wrestling game where you have to do enough damage to your opponent that basically you are getting them to tap out from their injuries. You don't actually pin them, you just win when their life bar is drained. And I don't remember if this is in the original version or if this is a feature of the hack, but somebody on the outside is throwing in power-ups, and if you get it, you're basically invincible, and if your opponent gets it, they're basically invincible. But best of 3 falls is how you win the match here. And as you can see, even for the primitive graphics of the time, you can still tell that you're doing wrestling moves. You're doing suplexes and punches and throws and throwing guys off the ropes and giving them clotheslines and doing all that fun stuff. So it's an interesting hack, and I would say hats off to Sharopolis again for preserving this. And I will put links to both his original video and to his dumps of those disk images, FDS files, whatever you want to call them. I will put those in the description of this video. There's one more that I wanted to try, though. I was not aware until now that there was a Famicom disk system version of Puyo Puyo, but I looked around on various archival resources and I found this under a series that was apparently released by a fan magazine. So it's got the Compile logo, and I assume it's official by Compile, but they must have contributed that disc to that issue of the magazine in some sort of commercial partnership. And it takes both sides of the disc to actually load the full game in, so it was obviously a big disc too, because some smaller games you could put different games on each side of a disc, which is always a danger when you're buying used Famicom disk system discs because they're rewritable, so you might not have what the disc says on the disc label itself. Somebody might have written over it because they were already writing something to the flip side, so they may have gotten bored with the game on the first side and written over that too. So it's quite a crapshoot, which is the other reason it's good that people go to the trouble of preserving Famicom disk system games, because not only is the media fragile, the media was replaceable, so the number of copies out there for some of these games might be limited at best, and the sooner they are dumped and preserved, the better it is for future generations who want to still be able to see what these games were about. But I think you know what this one is about by watching my gameplay footage. It's Puyo Puyo. If you never played it before, the premise is easy enough to understand. There are different colored blobs that come in different arrangements. Sometimes you'll get 2 of the same color, sometimes you'll get 2 different colors. But what you want to do is chain them together. When you get 4 or more of the same color to match when you drop them down Tetris style, they disappear. And if you want combos, you either make bigger blocks of blobs or you create a chain where when one is eliminated, for lack of a better term, when that chain is eliminated and a color is left over and it drops down into the playfield, it merges with another set that's about ready to be eliminated. So you get a cascading effect of one chain removes another chain, like a series of dominoes toppling each other over. And it's very satisfying when you're playing Puyo Puyo and you get a large chain together and it keeps eliminating different groups of colors underneath it. And in this version, you also occasionally get a really big Puyo Puyo blob that will just ground pound its way through whatever is on the playfield. Like, it's not just there to match a color, it's there to destroy everything underneath it, which I think is a lot of fun. So my gratitude is to Compile here for actually bothering to make a Famicom version of this and release it on a Famicom disc. And whoever the person is that decided to preserve this disc, I'm thanking them as well. If you want to play more games in this series, Sega owns the rights to everything now. I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and as always, thanks for watching.